Meet Zac Guildford, a talented rugby player that had a career filled with moments of brilliance. But behind the glory, a storm was brewing.
I don't really want anyone to know, especially through my professional rugby career, that I was the broke-ass All Black,
The 2009 Under-20s Rugby World Cup should have been a moment to celebrate with the team, family and friends. But a tragic event happened that quickly changed everything. The emotions of winning the final, and then moments later, you hear that your father's passed away from a heart attack.
Yeah, I remember, lining up for that medal, and then, looking up in the stand and just to see where my parents were at, because I knew they were there, and then seeing my mum crying, I was like, fuck. And I just knew, something had happened to my dad.
Before losing his father, he did make a promise.
I remember promising him that I was going to be an All Black, and that's what I tried to do.
But just as his career was heading in the right direction, things were spiralling out of control behind the scenes.
6 months ago, he hit rock bottom, convicted of fraud for stealing $41,000 from his grandfather.
Yeah, I took from my granddad, spun some shit to a few close mates, and that was really embarrassing and hard to get through. And I spent 9 months on home D.
Yep.
Yeah, I tried suicide a couple of times.
Really?
Had the days, weeks, even maybe a couple of years there where I wanted to die. So this lady was talking about stealing to gamble, and I said, "Fuck, that'll never be me." She goes, "If you keep gambling, it will be."
Yep. Join us in this episode of the rise, the fall, and the rebuild of Zac Guildford. Kia ora everyone, what's up, and welcome back to another episode of Horis Tell Stories. We've got Coach Job here in the building to my left.
Sure, whānau.
The old Pong Diddy. He ain't in the house today.
I can feel his presence on my seat though. I can feel him here with us.
But today we're very fortunate to have a guest, ex-All Black, Crusader, Waratahs player, Hurricanes, Hawke's Bay. Pretty impressive resume, and that's Zac Guildford. Welcome, brother.
Ooh, yeah, sure, brother.
Thanks for coming on, bro.
What a guest.
Yeah.
What a guest, bro.
Good way to kind of close out the year. Yep. How you been anyway?
Yeah, I've been good. Yeah, enjoying Perth.
Yep.
Just recently sort of transitioned over with my partner, and it's a good place to be. Good to be out of the fishbowl, New Zealand. Good to be around some good people, and good to be cooking in the heat over here.
Warmakers.
Running the heat wave for
I'm struggling. I was tapped out the other day when it got up to near 40, but it's good. I'd pack a sad if it was cold, like back in Christchurch. So it's a good place to be. Good to be around good people.
Nice. Awesome, bro. Awesome. How's the Harmony Nines for you?
Bro, I was like, when the Kazi Ray caught me at a thirds game watching.
Ray Retty.
He's like, "Come play for Kaununu, you're Kaununu." I'm like, I don't know if Netherlands will let me, trying to make up some lies. But man, it was an awesome tournament. I didn't really know what I was in for, but the cultures and communities that it brings together. It was great. Not as sharp as I used to be, but it was good to have a run around and connect with some really good people, and people from back home as well that I haven't connected with in a long time, and people I hadn't met from back home. So it was an awesome tournament. Loved it. And
strong whānau environment, Ngāti Kaununu, bro. They've been in it for a while now.
Yeah,
they're one of the what are they called? The trailblazing clubs that first started when Harmony 9 started, bro.
Yeah, it was mean. So if, the hamstrings are still hanging on next year, then I'll try and have a bit of a trot. And I just thought it was really cool how it brought communities together and the different cultures, and there was no trouble there. The game was just played hard without any.
That's the good thing about
scraps,
it, bro.
Like mean huckers. And it was just tough footy, but everyone was there for a good time and a good cause.
No, mean, bro. Mean. All right, brother, let's get into your story. So take us back to the early days, bro. How was childhood for you?
Childhood was pretty good. Like, mum, dad, my little brother. That was sort of it. And then obviously we had a pretty close extended whānau. Rugby was everything growing up. Followed my dad everywhere. He played for Greytown, the Wairarapa, who I had the privilege of playing for a year. And
the Bush.
The Bush. He played for the Bush too, against France, and marked old Intermac back in the day. I think it was like 93 or something they played, or 94 or something. So when they used to have those fixtures. So I grew up in a massive rugby environment. you know, which come with, you know, the drinking and the punting. And
Yep.
I sort of, you know, loved that from an early age, and sort of shaped me into, you know, the person that I became, but we can get into that later. Yeah.
How was your relationship with your parents?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mum was always really supportive. You know, they gave us everything we needed. We weren't rich, but we weren't, you know, we weren't broke as. We always had everything we needed for school, rugby. Yeah, they were supportive. Dad was a bit of a hard man. He didn't say much, but you know, he was always there to help, you know, coach, whether it be on the sideline, and he wasn't one of those abusive parents yelling, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But he was a hard man too. I wouldn't say he drove huge expectations, but he wasn't much of a communicator. Just would say, you know, harden up, boy, get on with it. And yeah, so you know, we had a pretty good upbringing. We'd get a bloody hiding if we're cheeky, but that was sort of the old school New Zealand
common back then,
old
eh?
school
mentality.
New Zealand
Yeah,
way, eh?
yeah, wouldn't get away with it now, but yeah, it's just the way things were. So you know, it wasn't rough as such. We always had the support there, but you know, there were a few things that were my upbringing that my family enjoyed that, you know, I picked up at a later age that, you know, I probably shouldn't have.
Siblings?
Yeah. Got one brother, so he was he was way better than me at rugby growing up.
Yeah,
He
right.
was way more natural. I'm pretty unco, so he could pass off both feet, pass off both hands, step off both feet, kick off both feet from a young age, but he didn't really have that love for rugby that I had. Like, I'd always be practicing in the backyard, and he'd be up to other sorts of mischief. So yeah, he probably could have been anything too, but just didn't have the love for the game like I did.
Work ethic? Was that you?
Yeah. I've worked hard. Like, I was never the best growing up. I had, you know, a little bit of natural talent there, but I was never I was never the best naturally, that's for sure. I always had.
Position, bro? What position did you sort of play growing up? Always in the outsides?
Oh no, when I was growing up, I didn't switch the outsides till I was about would have been my last year of high school.
Shit, that's late.
Yeah. So I was mainly sort of second five centre growing up, sort of. Yeah,
Still a fair bit of pace?
yeah, I think I really started, you know, getting some pace in my teenage years when I started doing weights in the gym, joined the Hawke's Bay Academy at about 15, 16, started making New Zealand age group teams and started lifting tin and doing some squats and stuff like that. And I think that's where I started to get some pace from and started, you know, getting the real training from the academy coaches in at Hawke's Bay and stuff like that. And, you know, that helped me get some speed. And then I moved to the wing. First time I played wing was for the Hurricane secondary schools in my last year of high school, yeah.
So you got pushed into the system nice and early at Hawke's Bay?
Yeah.
Academy systems?
Yeah. So I made, you know, Hawke's Bay age group teams and stuff like that. And, they through the academy about 16, I would have got pushed into the academy. Well, not pushed in, you know, I jumped in, loved it. Signed my first contract at the age of 17. I remember the old Hawke's Bay CEO at the time, White Bishop, come to school with a contract, and my dad come in, and it was for $20,000, and I was like, man,
Yeah.
So I thought I'd
At that age too.
yeah. Went from, you know, trying to scab $2.50 at the tuck shop for a pie, and then the year after I could buy all the pies, so I was pretty stoked.
That was around the 2006, 2007.
Yeah,
When
2000.
they started to really look at honing in on academy players, 5 to 10 from the region and throw them some money.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
Polytech or anything like that, So I thought that was quite a good model.
Yeah. I went to the EIT. You know, they gave us all that sort of structure, but I went there for about a week and then realised that rugby was way cooler. So
Yeah.
I probably should have picked that stuff up from a young age. You know, but when you're 17, 18 and you got the rugby world at your feet as such, or you're trying to strive for it, I was pretty focused on trying to become the best rugby player I could.
When did you realise like you wanted to be a rugby player? Was there like a moment that happened in your life? Or,
I probably never really believed in myself from a young age, so I didn't ever think I was the best, and that's probably what helped me because I'd always train really hard. I was always out there practicing, whether that be after school, before school, lunchtime, doing extras from a young age. So that probably helped me get to where I got eventually. So, but probably I'll say, you know, when I started making New Zealand in the 16s, New Zealand secondary schools, and signed that first contract for Hawke's Bay, I was like, oh shit, there might be something that can happen from this.
Well, tell us about that opportunity, man. When that first came along, like how was that for yourself and even the family? Like, Must have been fucking excited, eh?
Yeah. No, it was really cool, but it all happened really fast. You know, you don't really get a chance to breathe when it happens that fast. You know, my first year out of school, I was into the New Zealand under-19 systems. I went to Ireland, 2007, managed to win that. Hadn't even played a men's club game before then, you know, and then
Yeah, right.
come back to Hawke's Bay. I think I played one club game for Taradale, was my club at the time. And then it was straight into Hawke's Bay stuff. So I think I only played one club game before I got into playing for Hawke's Bay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so the family was stoked. You know, my dad was always proud. You'd see him at the games in his Hawke's Bay jersey. My mum was there following. And yeah, all the extended whānau followed. They obviously all love rugby and fanatics. So it was really cool to be able to do them proud. You know, it feels like a long time ago now. But
So Hawke's Bay, NPC and New Zealand 19s in the same year?
Yeah. So 2007, that was the first year I played for Hawke's Bay. Made my debut for Hawke's Bay against Southland in Invercargill. And earlier that year, we managed to win the Under-19 World Cup in Belfast.
I think that was the last year that they had New Zealand under 19s as well, eh?
Yeah, it
Before
was.
they went to the 20s, I think.
Yeah, it was. And, you know, we had a pretty star-studded team. We had,
Stacked, eh?
like Izzy Dagg, Sean Maitland, Cade Pokey, Ryan Crotty, Rob Fruin, Trent Renata. That was our backline, you know. So when you got those guys playing inside and outside, and then Sam Whitelock as captain, it makes the job a lot easier when you're just sitting down on the wing waiting for tries.
Bloody wingers, man.
Picking up the cherries, eh?
Tell us about the moment when you first went into the Hurricanes system. How was that for you? Going into Supers.
Scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know I was still just a kid. Like I was only 18 when I got named in the Hurricanes, and you know I still just thought I was one of the bros from Hawke's Bay that you know love getting on the piss with the boys, love you know I wouldn't say getting into mischief, but just love having a good time.
Yeah.
And it all happened really quickly. You know, like we won the under-19s, played for Hawke's Bay. We had a really good year. I think we made the semi-finals. Yeah, managed to lose. I think we lost to Auckland the semis, beat Waikato in the quarterfinals that year. And then, it all happened really quick. And then next thing you know, come November, I'm alongside the likes of, you know, Manonu, Jerry Collins and stuff like that at the Hurricanes. And
Pretty daunting figures, eh, bro?
yeah,
to come
daunting.
up
Yeah,
against?
I was shitting myself, you know, at the first training. But I remember, all of them being really, really welcoming. Like they're all good guys, and you know, every rugby player that I've sort of played alongside, they're all pretty normal sort of people behind the mask, you know, once you get to know them. So, yeah, Ma took me under his wing, and he was a good fella. You know, had the likes of Albie Mathewson and Corey Jane, and we sort of hung out together because, you know, we'd been from Hawke's Bay and used to like getting up to a bit of mischief and giving each other shit. So, no, it was a cool environment to be in. It was probably before rugby become really professional. So, I was quite lucky to make it at that stage when I got to experience, you know, all the different personalities and stuff like that.
Did you ever have like a kind of like a welcome to Super Rugby moment? Like, you know, did someone whack you or anything like that? Or
We're training, you know, the
training,
older boys,
you know,
bro.
did they-
Jerry Collins get a stiff arm across the head or anything like that, bro?
No, they sort of looked after me, eh? I remember, I got cheeky to Andrew Hall once. We were having a few jars, and he gave me a bit of a punch in the head. But
Did he?
that's sort of just what happened, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, I probably shouldn't have done that and learned a lesson. But not at training or anything like that. We all trained hard together. They were actually pretty really nice, welcoming guys. Played hard, went hard off the field. My first super game was we played at Cape Town against the Stormers.
Would have been a hostile environment, eh?
Yeah, it was hostile. I remember that man, we played them on the Saturday, and on the Thursday, man, our whole team was out till bloody about 4 or 5 a.m. Friday morning. So that's that wouldn't happen these days, but that's the sort of
Was
what it was
that
like
like-
on tour back in the day. And
Were
Boys
the
on the
coaches
hiss,
in that
yeah.
sweet with that? Like,
I don't know if
back
they
then?
were sweet, but you
the
know,
boys just done it anyway.
Yeah, we had so many big personalities. I remember, you know, a few of us boys trying to eat, on the Friday before we were about to play the Stormers on the Saturday. And, there's a lot of hungover faces. And we went out, played the Stormers. And, Jean de Villiers, the
second five.
centre, he gave me a bit of twat because I was giving, just trying to run around like a headless chicken coming off the bench for 30 minutes and managed to do quite well. But, we went down that day, but yeah, it was
But
massive.
it wasn't because of the Thursday night, though, eh, bro?
Well, there's probably part of it that played a part, but I don't know if we had GPSs back then, but so we could kind of hide a bit. But yeah, it was before rugby got really, really professional. And I'm glad I sort of got to experience a bit of that amateur sort of stuff because there's sort of it's almost like Heartland type rugby. Had what you'd experience now, but it was good fun, and there were a lot of characters back then. But as I said, you wouldn't get away with it now.
Who was the coach of that Hurricane side?
Colin Cooper.
Oh, I was going to say Colin Cooper.
He was a nice guy, and you had some pretty big dogs like Jerry, Rodney Marr, Conrad, Horry. That was a lot of it was player driven. So he was a really nice guy though, and a good coach, and he welcomed me in for a couple of years, so that was cool.
Yeah, man. Your time at the Crusaders, bro. How was that for you? I know that's where you played majority of your Super Caps, eh? Down south in Christchurch.
And the reason why I went to the Crusaders was, we had some talented wingers at the Hurricanes. In my first year, I played really well. I was just playing off the cuff and managed to nab that starting position in the second half of the season.
So it would have been Corey, and who was the other side?
Corey was fullback.
Oh, was he fullback?
Yeah, it was. I think 2008 was my first year at the Hurricanes. It was towards the end of the season. It was myself and Jose.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Big H.
Yeah.
So two sort of different wingers on either side.
Yeah.
And then 2009, I sort of had a bit of a form slump, and you had David Smith, who was running riot on one wing, and
he came over to the force for a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we had him on one wing and Big H on the other wing, who was running amok that year, and I sort of got, pushed to the bench for the back half of the season, and I got a call from Todd Blackadder asking me to go down for a hui down to Christchurch. Yeah. And he sort of sold the dream, playing alongside the likes of Dan Carter and pretty much guaranteeing me a starting spot. I was like, yeah, I'll come down, and I love my time down there. Completely different environment to the Hurricanes, where you had all the bros and I guess Crusaders.
All the white boys.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Just say it, bro.
yeah, all the honkies. So it was, it was really different. We couldn't be, well, you could still be loose, but not quite as loose at the Hurricanes. So it took a bit of adapting, but like playing alongside DC, and I had big Robbie Frew in there, and then Izzy come the year after. Yeah. So, we had some, and, Ryan Crotty and a few of the guys that I played age groups with.
Was that a big part of why Blackadder wanted you to come down into the fold? Is you've had some familiarity, you were familiar with like Robbie and Crotty and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think so. And I think he seemed what I could do when I was in form and playing well and wasn't in my own head. So, and it was at the time when Rico was leaving, Leon McDonald's, and a few other guys, Scott Hamilton. So there's a bit of a shortage in the outsides down there, and it's at a stage, where us fellas from the under-19s were coming through. So I guess he just seen, a bit of talent, and always had quite a good combination with DC when we were playing. He's best player to almost ever play the game. So I just sort of try and feed off him, and I was good at feeding off scraps. So sort of worked for me anyway.
Was your first year the earthquake year?
2010 was my first year there. So
and then 11 was the earthquake year, right?
Yeah, when
fuck that. How was that for the boys? Like, obviously not being able to play at home, Jade Stadium crumbling down, like.
Yeah, it was pretty.
It was a massive season for years anyway, but
I think we played like one home game before. I don't even know if we played one home game before the earthquake.
You went like Nelson, eh?
Yeah. We went to Nelson, went to Napier, went to Twickenham. Big Sonny Bill had joined us at that stage, so that was an out the gate backline to be part of. It was quite tragic, and it was really tragic actually. We just did our best, for the region at the time. With what we had, but every week we were playing elsewhere, whether that be going to London or South Africa or Australia, or we played a home game in Napier, Timaru. So all sorts of places, and it was quite hard, but I was still young at the time, and used to living out of a suitcase. So, but I know for the boys with families and stuff, it was really hard. But it was nothing compared to the lives that were lost and stuff like that. And I remember there were a few earthquakes, I think in June, that went off, and me and Izzy Dag, we packed our bags and all went into training. We said to Toddy, we're out here. And he goes, no, you got to stay. We've got a game this weekend. So, it was quite, it's quite scary, but we just all stuck in it together and managed to get through, and then got bowled by the Reds, who had all the young guns at that time in the final, which was shit, but
Yeah.
had to get on with it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, bro. Let's go to the under-20 World Cup. Like obviously the tragic passing of your father. How was it like? I don't know, just the emotions of winning the final, and then moments later, you know, you hear that your father's passed away from a heart attack.
Yeah, it was obviously shit. You know, because throughout the under 19s and 20s tournaments, we always had a rule that would there'd be no piss, no one would drink, because the game's only 3 or 4 days apart, and then we're together for 6 weeks, so we give it our best, and we managed to beat England. I think it was like 44-21 on that day or something.
Yeah.
So, the boys are always gearing up for a big party, especially if we manage to get that W.
You got a couple tries in that game as well, eh?
Yeah. Managed to get a couple of tries, feeding off old Cruds there, who really come into his own that year.
Yeah.
But I remember, lining up for that medal, and then looking up in the stand and just to see where my parents were at, because I knew they were there, and then seeing my mum crying, I was like, fuck. And I just knew, something had happened to my dad, and I quickly went up into the stands, and I'd never seen my dad I'd never seen him cry, never seen him show weakness, and to see him, crumble to the ground, and our team doctor trying to work on him was like, I just didn't even know what was going on at that time, like I knew in my heart he was gone, but I didn't know the journey that was ahead, or how big a hole he would leave. I just was still trying to fight the battle between, winning an under-20s World Cup and wanting to have a few beers with the boys, and then losing my dad and trying to be there for my mum, and then coming home and, all the other stuff that follows after that. So, yeah, he was, as I said, he was a hard man and a rock in my life, and no one that I ever seen show weakness, to see him crumble like that. Definitely turned my life on its head, if you know what I mean. Everything was going really well until then, probably too well. So, yeah.
What did you do like after that moment? So your old man had passed. Like what happened then?
We went back obviously to the hospital. They said they thought they found a pulse, but it was just a little bit of adrenaline or something. We're obviously in a foreign country in Japan, so I didn't really know what the fuck was going on. And I remember just sitting there with my mum, and we just didn't really know what to do, how to act. We're trying to talk to family back home, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. I was really lucky.
What do you do, bro?
Really lucky. I had my agent over there at the time, Simon Porter, another guy, Tim, I think his name was, who worked for the same company, and he could speak Japanese, so they were a big help. And then I just remember, finally realising that he was gone, and having to go back, talk to the boys, and not really wanting to ruin their night. And I had one beer with them and sort of said, I don't want this to be a dampener on your nights, because we just won a World Cup. And then, me and my mum went up to the room. We sort of lay there looking at the ceiling all night in the bed next to each other, pissing down, thunder, lightning, and just, really started the process of what the fuck was going on.
Yeah. How were the following few months after that moment for you? Like, were you in like a dark space?
Yeah, I was dark as because my dad never talked about his problems or his issues, so I didn't really have the tool belt of of grief or how to deal with it. I didn't have any tools on what to do. So really, we went back and had the tangi, and what a tangi's like. You just get on the piss and eat heaps of food and be around whānau and friends at that time. And then that was over in a week, buried my dad, said goodbye to him. And then within a day or two after that, I was back at training. Remember promising him that I was going to be an All Black. And that's what I tried to do. But, I didn't have any really tools around how to navigate grief. And
no one does that way, bro, until it actually happens to you.
Yeah, so I was really lost, and I was 20 at this time, and I wasn't really going to show any signs of vulnerability. All I wanted to do was play the best rugby I could and make him proud.
So what was kind of like the safety blanket for you? Like what were you turning to during that time?
Rugby and alcohol, really. Yeah. Like I'd play hard. I guess I was training hard, but at the same time, I was drinking pretty hard after every game too, because that was our culture in Hawke's Bay at the time.
It wasn't so much your dad's passing; it was just what you knew and grew up with, eh?
Yeah.
When it comes to the alcohol,
Yeah,
and rugby.
Yeah, alcohol and rugby, and my dad passing, so that probably took a few different emotions with it. When I got on the piss, you'd get a bit angry, a bit ho-ha, and people understanding that I was going through some stuff, so I probably got away with a little bit more at that time. But I made one promise to my dad, and that was to be an All Black, and that was sort of my mission. I was really had my blinkers on and just focusing on one goal, and if it happened, it happened.
Did you have any strong mentors, bro, that helped you in that time? Like,
there were a lot of people that I guess tried to help, but a lot of people, when was that 2009, mental health wasn't really a
Was it
thing.
talked about?
No,
or-
it wasn't talked about back
push it
then.
aside?
Nah, like I remember moved in with Sean Maitland when I went down to Crusaders 2010, and he goes, "If you ever feel anxious, you ever have anxiety?" I was like, "What the fuck's that?"
Yep.
So I didn't even know what was going on, and probably grew up with a huge deal of anxiety throughout my career and stuff like that. But role models I probably pushed a lot away because I just wanted to do it by myself, and as I said, my dad didn't show vulnerability, so I wasn't going to show it at any stage.
Very man thing to do, to push everyone away.
Yeah,
I can do it. Yeah.
I can do it all by myself. I'm all right,
I've got this far by myself. I don't
Yeah.
need anyone.
Yeah, and that was my mentality back then, just put on the boots and get on with it.
Yep. Yep. Did you drugs at all?
I got introduced to them later on in 2009, so not until after my first All Blacks tour. I remember my sort of first experience with ecstasy.
Yeah. Just ecstasy, was it?
Later on I went into different drugs. Yeah. Like I've tried pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And really relied on those drugs to sort of, I wouldn't say, probably keep me alive at some stage. Like people who don't understand addiction would say, oh, what a dumb bastard,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I didn't come out of my mum's womb saying I want to be an addict. I just didn't know how to deal with the pain.
Yep.
For a lot of through a lot of my 20s and early 30s. So I tried everything from A, B, C to D to Z, and I wish I had done it differently, but at that time in my life I didn't I don't think I was really ready to try and grasp any other tools or
Well, they
have
weren't
the strength
available,
to.
bro. Or they weren't available.
No, the help was there, as I sort of got, through to 2013 was, I got sent to rehab at the Crusaders after, a big night on the piss and gear, and I punched a couple of dudes, and so the help was there, but and I stayed sober for a long time throughout that year, but I just didn't have the strength at that time, I guess, to really stay consistent. And I was only in my early 20s at that stage, and probably wasn't really ready to face the grief of the passing of my dad. And it's hard to when that's been your only tool to rely on is addiction, or the punt, the piss, and the drugs. It's really hard to drop those when you don't have the strength to, or it's not like I didn't have the motivation. I just, at times, it wasn't a choice.
When did the gambling come in? For you?
Bro, when I was like 3.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So my family were like quite big into horse racing.
The horses, eh?
Yeah, and old
That was quite,
sports,
I remember that fucking TV channel that was just...
So like,
Yeah,
and all
GGs.
my family could do it. Like, my uncles and granddad and my dad, they could all do it within their means. Like they would, maybe go down and spend $100 or whatever they could afford. But I always had that addictive personality. It was all or nothing. So I remember sitting at the pub when I was like 4 or 5, and watching the horses and just thinking, I'm going to do this when I'm older. And I actually wanted to be a jockey before I wanted to be an All Black. So trackside was always on at home, and it was something I was, passionate about growing up. Remember the old dollar bets with my dad when he was the bookie when I was about, not even at intermediate, So I loved it from an early age, and then, I was, from the age I could go into a pub, I'd have a few bets and stuff like that, and it really took off when I started earning decent money.
Yep.
Yeah.
What were the triggers for you to like turn to? Would you say rugby was a trigger for you to like?
I wouldn't say rugby was a trigger. I would say just no real understanding of how to deal with pain or conflict or, I was diagnosed with ADHD a few years ago, and that made a lot of sense, Because for
Impulsive behaviour?
Yeah, because for a long time I just thought I was a dickhead.
Yeah.
I was like, why do I keep doing this shit? Why am I spending all my money and, on the piss punt and,
Get bored.
Yeah, like boredom. Yeah, boredom or not wanting to deal with grief or conflict would arise and, just be straight back to the drawing board doing the same old thing. And
It's neurological too, bro. Like they can actually look at someone that gets on the gas, on the piss, sorry, with ADHD to someone that's not.
Yeah.
And their brain actually does a hell of a lot of different things. Same way Dexies as well. Dexies calms someone with ADHD.
Yeah.
Whereas it fucking fires someone else who doesn't,
Yeah. So I was just that all or nothing sort of person. And gambling, it never served me, but it was sort of the thing I'd try and keep secret, because I don't really want anyone to know, especially through my professional rugby career, that I was the broke-ass All Black, And it just really took me in a space where I could escape all my thoughts and feelings. If I had a bad game, I could forget that because losing 10 or 20K a night sucks. So you soon forget that you played shit, and then you win. You get a good win, you might win 50, 60K, and then, it just is, it's just like a fantasy land. And I never thought I could, go a day or two without it. So I'm proud of where I'm at now and being able to stay away from it. And it's just, they call it the silent addiction because, when you're on the piss or you're on drugs, you can see the physical signs, but for someone that's gambling, they might have just lost 100K at the casino, but it's very hard to see distress when you're not on a substance or something like that.
Was that not like affecting you like as a player, like I guess at training or your performance and things like that?
Yeah, and it's probably why I started to dip in my form, and why I played my last game for the All Blacks at the age of 23. Sometimes I was up all night, punting on online, and then when you're only operating off 2 or 3 hours sleep, it becomes pretty hard. Or when you've lost, you get paid monthly. When you've lost your pay packet by the 10th, and you got to hang out to the 30th or 31st, things start to get a bit stressful. Also I remember, bloody being on the training field and then running in and checking the phone to see what scores were and stuff. And it was just total mayhem. But at that stage in my life, I didn't know anything else. And for me, it made perfect sense. But looking back at it now, it was fucking stupid.
Yeah. Bro, is this story true? You're riding naked on a scooter in Raro?
Yeah. Oh, I think so, yeah.
Did you just win 60K?
No, there was no 60K one. So, we were over there for a wedding, and myself and Richard Buckman,
good play.
we went over a day or so early before the wedding. We thought, we'll set up the island, we'll make everyone feel at home by the time they get here, and fell asleep for sweet as. Only had a couple of beers the first night, then hooked into it in the morning, getting our scooter licenses, going around all the different bars and stuff. And then, they must have been putting some nice homebrew or rocket fuel in those drinks, because
A rack.
because by the time the plane landed and the rest of the wedding reception arrived, we were doing tika tonu outside the bloody small as airport.
Do you have that footage? We need
Nah,
it.
it was, before the days of Snapchat, thank God. And then, one thing led to another, and I don't remember it, but I remember being my mate tells me the story, and the cops got me because I was being a bit of a loose fella, and then had me in the police station, and he reckons next minute he looked out the window and I was out there, and I bloody shaking my willy at him from from outside. He's like, "How did he get out there?" And I ran into the pub and caused a bit of mischief in there, and which I've had to make peace with, and then got caught again, and on the way to the airport got caught again by the police, and then remember coming to a little bit and being in the paddy wagon or the police car, a couple of big brown fellas with batons, and I was like, fuck, this is pretty scary. So I opened the police door and I jumped out, landed on the road, then jumped off the bridge and ended up in the water. And
you tried to gas it?
yeah, I tried to gas it again. Yeah. And then
Wingers, man.
yeah, then I remember them shining their torches, and I'm like, one thing ran through my head. I was like, well, I'm not going to get home, and some other crazy thoughts went through my head. So I climbed up, and then woke up in a cell the next morning, my head stitched up, and thinking, shit, this isn't going to be a very good story, is it? And then Wayne Smith and Gilbert Anoka were over in the Cook Islands at the time, quite ironically, and they came and see me as I was resting my wounds and and my sorrows in my hotel room, and it's fair to say I didn't make the wedding.
True.
That was fucking stupid too.
Yeah.
But, obviously, you're in the spotlight, bro. You're under the scrutiny of the media, being so high profiled. But I think that's pretty standard for overseas rugby tours, bro, for stories like that to come out.
Yeah.
It's just that you're high profile, bro.
Yeah, and I was really good at getting caught.
Unusual for a winger.
How was the conversation with Wayne Smith and that?
They were really understanding. Like, they, for a few years, they really tried to help me through my shit, but I was just at a stage where I wasn't ready for that help. I had some pretty heavy addictions tied to me by that time, and they were well and truly embedded in my sort of makeup at the time. And I wasn't ready to really give myself the help that I needed.
Yeah.
No excuses or anything like that. I just didn't know any differently, and addiction was keeping me alive at that time, and bloody mayhem. But I managed to stay alive. But it was bloody just crazy.
How were you able to deal with the media just constantly on you, bro?
I could deal with it at the time, like it just, it sucked, but I more felt for like, my mum and my grandparents and stuff, like when they'd turn up on my mum's doorstep, and that made me really angry, or when they ring my grandparents, and, my grandparents no different. They're going to talk to someone if they ring up and, put on this act that they're going to write a nice story. So I just got really frustrated when they started going towards my family, and I could handle it, but at the same time, it hurts.
But they know that. The media know that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I knew that, this was my own doing. I've always tried to be pretty accountable and look in the mirror and realize that I fucked up. So, yeah, it was hard, but I'm not going to sit here and say poor me at all. Yeah.
I know you've tried to I guess come back, a few times. What's different about, now?
Man, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 36 next year. I got a beautiful partner as well. I run a company with a few of my mates. I got my mum who's not far off retirement, and just want to give her a bit more peace.
You feel like there's a lot more to lose?
Yeah, not to lose, but I guess to lose, and just, I got my family who, back on good terms, and man, I just don't want to lose the peace that I've got now, like it hasn't been perfect, but I've just come too far to go backwards, and just, at times I have those bloody bad dreams that I've gone back to my old life, and they give me the shits.
Yeah.
Jumping off bridges.
It's my little larks out. That's traumatic.
Yeah.
So like it's just crazy, and to just give me a whole heap of unwanted anxiety, and I just don't really want to let the few good people down in my life. And as I said, I run a company with a couple of close bros back home in recruitment, so I got staff that also look up to me. So just I think just starting to grow up a little bit and just over the same old mistakes and and financially, you just can't afford to do that shit anymore.
Yeah. The fraud charges, bro. Like, were you ever in like a really depressive state?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
How
Like,
bad did it get?
Yeah, I tried suicide a couple of times.
Really?
Had the days, weeks, even maybe a couple of years there where I wanted to die. So yeah, I took from my granddad, spun some shit to a few close mates, and I gotta live with that now. But the good thing is I can mend those relationships, and that's another thing that keeps me moving forward because I gotta pay my dues, and I got these people that looking to me and don't want me to go backwards as much as I don't want myself to go backwards. So there's a whole lot of good people that I let down through one phase of my life, and I definitely don't want to do it for another phase. So yeah, that was really embarrassing and hard to get through. And I spent 9 months on Home D, working on myself, and then a couple of years now further on, I got a beautiful partner, as I said, back on good terms with my family. So those were some dark days, and
Sorry, bro. How much money were we talking here then?
it was 90K that I got, something like that I got sentenced to 9 months Home D for. Yeah. So it was it was traumatic for me. Like I didn't. That's not me. I'm not that person. But that's how deep addiction took me. I remember being at a Gamblers Anonymous meeting back in 2013, and because I had those problems from a young age, and this lady was talking about stealing to gamble. And I said, fuck, that'll never be me. She goes, if you keep gambling, it will be. And I still keep in touch with this lady to this day.
Yeah, right.
And I'm grateful for her because she's been a huge supporter and mentor, and she's obviously further on the journey. So there's people like that too that, keep me going.
And now you can be that example for someone else, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Get the opportunity to pay it forward.
Yeah, I hope so. And that's and that's what I love doing, like I've probably been better at helping other people than myself throughout the years, and passing on advice and sharing story and being able to, try and coach or support other people through. But, now it's time that I do it for myself, and, other people can hopefully follow and pick up a few things off me.
Because, they will, bro. Yeah, they will.
Awesome, bro. Have you been able to rebuild those relationships with your grandfather and your mates here?
Yeah. Like I was quite sour with my granddad for a while, because I was still in that victim mentality. So obviously I didn't reach out to him for a little bit, but then a few months after all the bullshit happened, and I think it was a week or two after I went to court and got sentenced, I rang him up, and I couldn't talk to him, mate, because I just kept crying. Because I knew I'd hurt him, and I thought, what a wanker he is for going to the police, but really he just wanted to save me and help save my life, and it's probably the best thing he could have done. Well, it's definitely the best thing he could have done. Now we have a good relationship. I'm obviously over here now, so it's a bit hard to see him, but we still catch up on the phone every now and again. My nana, she's all over Facebook and messaging all the time, so she'll keep
oldies love it, bro?
They
love Facebook,
so she keeps my granddad in the loop. But there's no real bad blood with my family anymore. Awesome, we've always been close, and just had to navigate through that mumai, and now it's almost pretty back to normal, I'd say.
Nice,
That's
bro.
awesome, bro. Yeah,
no,
that's
awesome
to hear,
bro.
man.
Congrats to you, man. That's been. All right, let's talk about making the All Black side, bro. How was that for the first time? Where were you?
Oh,
we're white baiting, eh? You went on a fucking bender, were you? You went?
Raro.
No, I've been to sleep. I was actually we just played a charity netball game in Masterton, and we'd had a bit of a big night, and I knew the All Black squad was getting named in the on Sunday morning.
For what tour, bro?
2009 end of year tour.
End of year, right?
Yeah. But I always like to be a bit of a pessimist and think, I'm not going to make it, because then if I didn't make it, I wouldn't be let down,
Yep.
but yeah, I ended up making it, and I didn't listen to it or anything like that. Then my phone started going nuts, and yeah, I think the first person I talked to was my dad's brother, my uncle, and he rang me up crying, and obviously pretty emotional because it was only not even four months after I lost my dad. So yeah, first time I ever heard him cry too, and yeah, a really proud moment for my family, and yeah, it was sort of still surreal, you know, like everything was just happening so fast. Like I just lost my dad, just made the All Blacks, and next thing you know, I'm on a plane off to UK and Europe for 6-7 weeks, whatever it was, and managed to make my debut against Wales in November.
Was it Millennium? Is it
Millennium.
Stadium?
Yeah.
Fuck,
Is it
what a
still
stadium
Millennium?
to play
Yeah.
with. Fuck.
Yeah, it was out of it. Yeah. Like crazy, and my mum and auntie ended up flying over, so it was cool to have them there. But yeah, just a real surreal moment. Like I never thought I'd play for the All Blacks, and then to do it was pretty cool. And I probably would have got a try if Ma had passed it, so I would have put the cherry on top. But no, a real proud moment, and yeah, something that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And
Were you like, I don't know, oh, you probably wouldn't have, but like starstruck going into an environment like that? Yeah.
yeah, bro, it was like the Crusaders and super environments were daunting.
Yep.
But then when you make the All Blacks, it's even scarier.
Yeah.
So I was still a young buck, and you know, going in there, the just intensity goes to the next level. You know, an intensity I haven't really experienced before. You know, and I didn't really enjoy the intensity, to be honest. Like I love playing for the All Blacks, but yeah, it was sort of like walking on eggshells.
Too much anxiety.
Yeah, too much anxiety. I remember wanting to pull pin a few times, like before the World Cup. I remember lying in bed thinking, fuck, I'm going to ring Graham Henry and tell him I'm not coming. But yeah, I was just really, that environment scared the shit out of me a bit, Loved playing and training, but yeah, being in that intense environment, you know, almost just wish I was back in Hawke's Bay playing with the boys. And it's probably why I probably a part of a reason why I did sabotage at times, you know.
Was it also like maybe the weight of the country as well? Did that ever play a part?
I wasn't really one to feel nerves before a game, especially when I was at that level. Like, yeah, I'd be nervous, but I'd be more excited and pumped. I think it was just the atmosphere within, you know, like it was a real intense environment, and so it should be, you know, you're playing for your country. But once again, I didn't have those grounding tools. I didn't even know what grounding was. I was about that far off the ground all the time.
I suppose you would have had a lot of intense characters, like, you know, Richie McCaws and
he was hard.
Brad Thorne, the fucking Franks brothers or something like that. Like,
yeah. Like they were all good guys, but yeah, very intense sort of characters. Like I played with Richie for a long time, but
is he boring, bro?
Yeah, like he's a nice guy, but like.
But everything just all rugby to like his whole life.
Rugby and aeroplanes.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever had a conversation where I'd feel like totally chilled out with him.
Yeah.
It was always a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
Did you want to go to Raro together?
Maybe you can fly me on your plane, Richie. But no, he was a good guy, man. There was no one else you'd rather go on the field with, like before a game when you look him in the eyes and, you know, it's like, I'm ready to go to battle with you. So, as you know, as awkward as it was off the field to have a conversation with him, he made up for it on the field because he was just an absolute weapon.
Yep.
And no one else you'd rather go to war with.
This is 2010. Is this 2010?
9 I made the
Nine,
but
sorry.
Yeah.
9.
That World Cup year, how was that, bro? Because from what I remember, did you play a couple games? I remember you
No, I got a trouble game before the World Cup.
Oh, did you?
I don't know. I don't really know why for this time. Like all the other times I'd be accountable for, but all on the piss, and I got dragged out in front of the media. They're probably just sick of me getting on the piss.
Yeah.
So I didn't play until the Canada game, which was the last pool game.
Would you get a hat trick or what? You
got that day,
a few tries, eh?
Yeah, for that day, and then that was cool because my family, they obviously live in the Wairarapa. They just come over the hill.
Yeah.
And obviously a bit of redemption because, you know, I didn't play for the first 4 pool games or whatever it was, just train my ass off trying to get a spot, and then actually got named to play in the quarterfinal against Argentina and pulled my hamstring on the Tuesday at training. So yeah, that was me. And
how, bro? Just training, just
I think I don't know. I used to have fast twitch fibers. I haven't pulled a hammy for years now.
Yeah.
So just it was just I think a they might have put a kick downfield when we were doing our team run. I just took a stride, and then just a slight tear, and the MRI said the same thing. So that was sort of me ruled out of that game, and and didn't get back on the field again. Probably could have been all right for the final, but the boys were playing too good by then.
Yeah. Because we had Cax on the potty too, bro.
Yeah, he was beasted.
Yeah.
What were they? The bomb squad.
Bomb squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we called ourselves, the bomb squad, because we just used to. Yeah, we went through a stage there where we couldn't defuse a highball.
Yep.
Like I think early sort of mid 2000s, and then we really prided ourselves on being able to diffuse those highballs, and Corey James sort of led the way there. So we nicknamed ourselves the bomb squad.
Yep.
And we were pretty good at taking highballs back then.
Yeah, bro.
Did you didn't they get in trouble that World Cup as well? Didn't they get on the piss as well or something?
Yeah, in Takapuna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you with them? No?
I was, but I went to sleep. I went to sleep, and then they went out, and we're like smoking the old darts.
Smoking darts or something,
It was like a Wednesday night before a quarter final, and because we always had it might have been Tuesday night, because we always had a Wednesday off.
Yeah.
And then it was around the days when the sleeping pills were big within rugby and sports,
In the league too.
and the
They had them, mate.
pharmaceuticals. A few of the boys got
Mix
on.
those with the Red
Yeah.
Bull, eh?
Yeah, a few of the boys got on them. Next thing you know, that were drinking vodka, and I was lucky enough to go to sleep to not get caught that night. And CJ and Izzy went out, and I better not throw them under a bus.
Don't throw them under a bus, bro.
Yeah,
And the Winnie Blues, eh? So obviously, bro, boys won the 2011 World Cup. How was that for you, bro? Like what celebrations? Fucking
it was pretty hectic celebrations, but just I think I know
relief.
Massively proud moment for the boys as well. Especially not having won a World Cup since 1987 or the first World Cup.
We weren't even born, eh?
Yeah, so there was there was a hell of a lot of pressure within that environment to win, and obviously DC went down, Slady went down, Pruds went down, and then Beaver had to come to the rescue.
Well, Weeps went down too, bro. He was filled in that first day.
Yeah. So just massively proud moment, and the boys definitely celebrated after. I think it was about 5 days before we split up again and went our own ways to nurse a few headaches. Yeah. So it was it was a primo time, and just a time where everyone could decompress and enjoy each other's company, because we managed to save our ass by just 1 point.
And
We partied too, eh, Neff?
yeah, I took the fucking day off. Yeah, I took the next day off. I think every Kiwi did, eh? I suppose knowing that the whole country's partying with you, bro.
Yeah. No, it was cool, and just the country was unreal at that time. I remember you'd only really see that support when you'd go over to other countries where they'd come out of the pubs and clap the bus down the street, but back home, we had like a couple of thousand waiting for us outside the hotel. And I was like, whoa. It was it was out of it.
Yeah. How was your time in France? I know you went over to France. Was it France?
Yeah. I went to again. I wasn't. I thought I was ready. I thought sign a contract for Clermont. This was 2014-15 season.
Oh, is that how you know Reeks? Obviously you would have known him before that, but he was over there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was at Clermont before I got there. But
before, okay.
But then I met him through a few mutual friends that were still at the club or had been at the club, and we met up over there, and obviously had a few nights out and stuff as we do. But really good man as well. So I went over there. I was signed over there for 2 years. Went really well at the start, but then got homesick away from my sport. I thought $500,000 contract would save my life, but just wasn't ready. Went down the same rabbit hole, of addiction. It sort of, after 10 months, I come home and signed with Hawke's Bay again for, I think it was 30 grand. And, thought I'd be happy there, but I just, kept jumping ship to try and, I thought, it'd make me happy, but, I was just really going down dead ends. I kept hitting dead ends at every contract I signed, and really had to, hit the rock bottom that we talked about earlier to rediscover myself.
Do you think rugby union could be doing more to help players with the issues outside of the game?
I don't know what they're doing now, because, I've obviously been out in the professional environment for quite a long time. My last contract was 2019. back at a second div club in France called Nevers. So I don't know if I can really comment on that, but it'd be good to, it'd be good for them to hear players that have been down similar through similar journeys or struggles, because I know there's players in rugby that do struggle. We all struggle as humans, and from what I know, they're doing what they can, and I guess with the huge awareness around mental health that Mike King and Dave Lutelli and those brothers there have led. It's a lot bigger in New Zealand. I'm not sure about Australian rugby, but I think the awareness around mental health is massive now, and that's I guess a start.
Yep. What are you doing outside of rugby now, bro?
So run a labour hire recruitment company with a few of my close mates back home, Jake and Scotty, who obviously two of my real good mates, and guys that are there to three of us there to support each other. So we've got about anywhere between 30 and 40 staff under us. Our company's called Guildford and Co Limited, so it's awesome to be able to give people a purpose, in life, and to be able to offer job opportunities so that people can put food on the table, because the cost of living crisis is crazy back home.
Terrible, bro.
Yeah, and people are really struggling back home, and that's another reason why I transitioned over here was just the struggle back home's a bit out the gate. But it's awesome to be able to support those staff, and do a bit of the coaching stuff that I'm doing over here with Neddies. I've been doing back in Woodend for a couple of years, and obviously I enjoy giving back in the mental health game as well. So I'm affiliated with the Broken Movement Trust, where I've helped get we've created a men's trauma wānanga for tāne to go and work on themselves. And
where's this based, bro? Sorry?
Christchurch.
In Christchurch.
Yeah. So we ran 6 wānanga throughout 2023 and 24 this year as well. Yeah. So it was cool. It just gives individuals the opportunity to find different tools to navigate through the shit. Tools I didn't have back when I was 20 when I lost my dad. When I turned to the alcohol, drugs, and gambling, gives men a chance to walk alongside similar men on a journey, to go through breath work, cold water immersion, karakia, all that sort of stuff, so we can get through the shit together. Most of all, brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, bro. Man.
Yeah.
Any advice for any players out there coming through, or anyone that's struggling with the similar issues, bro?
Advice would be just to show a bit of vulnerability to people that you can trust. I wouldn't say show vulnerability to everyone within the early stages, because some people can take advantage of that vulnerability. But for people that you trust, and to try and find the right support, like I still get therapy every couple of weeks, and I've got a wonderful therapist, and it's just a place where I can decompress and release all the shit that goes on in our head on the daily, because we all struggle, and I think if you can find a safe space to release that struggle, you're really going to grow and strive, and then the bullshit doesn't come out when you're angry or frustrated, or when you've had a few beers, or when the missus pops off at you, or when the kids are playing up, because you've released that stuff in a safe space. So it'd just be finding the right support, and really working hard on yourself, and recognizing your triggers and your poison, and what works and what doesn't work for you.
Yep. Some really solid advice, bro. Thanks for that. Yeah,
it's all good.
I like that.
Any other tools you're using, bro? Like, are you training, or anything else that you?
Yeah, I still train. Like, I'm not a crazy trainer. Like, I'm not like Richie and Kieran Reid, who do like ultra marathons and stuff. But I'll go for my 5 to 10 Ks a few times a week. And those days that I'm not running, I try and get in the gym and do an hour session. Just about every day I try and train. It's always been a big tool for me. But also, I think, I know my partner, she's a massive part in keeping me strong. And if I didn't have her, I'd be pretty lost, I reckon.
Yeah.
And just a close bunch of friends who are on similar journeys to me. but yeah, all that stuff, you know, helps. Like, you know, the cold water immersion. I love hanging out in the cold and being able to recognize the breath and how that's going on. And
Scientifically backed tools, bro. They've actually broken it down.
Sauna.
Scientifically backed tools.
Yeah, all these little things that they sort of add up to be big things, and the little 1%ers count. And I just try and do these things, not, you know, every day, but something, you know, every day, whether it be training, sauna, cold water, beach, just everything to just relax the nervous system, because, you know, that's one thing that I couldn't control was my nervous system. With the ADHD, it was a little bit out the gate. So I know I've got to do something, you know, every day, not everything every day, but something every day to stay afloat.
Yeah.
And Perth's a pretty good place to get that running in too, eh, bro?
I
see you along the coast there.
I don't know about the 72% humidity this morning. It only got me to 4.5K that I was bent over the fence post.
It's some really nice views up there, eh, bro?
Yeah.
Really.
Oh, it's beautiful here.
I'm not talking about the ocean.
Well,
Trick question, bro.
I don't know. Got my eyes closed.
Yeah, trick question, bro.
Got me sweating.
It's the humidity.
Mean. All right, bro. Well, do you got anything else?
No, look,
bro?
yeah. Thank you, bro, for being so vulnerable, bro.
Yeah.
Obviously, we asked you, is there anything that's off the table? And you said nothing's off the table, bro. And I know that goes a long way with a lot of young listeners that are going through the same sort of space as well. We all know people in our communities, rugby league, touch and stuff like that, they're not doing so well when it comes to the alcohol, the gambling, and the drugs and stuff as well. But just being able to hear your story, I know you've made a difference already, bro. So thank you for that, cuz.
Powerful, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, powerful. So yeah, appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, no, it's all good. And if I just had one more thing to say, but just, you know, for those struggling, just, recognize what your poison is, and do your best to find the tools to stay away from it. Because I know, you know, the life I used to live to the one that I live now is, you know, I don't have all the big rugby contracts I used to have, but it's a lot more peaceful being away from the poison that used to drag me back into the depths of despair. So to just be to recognize your poison and work on it and gain the right support to move forward.
Beautiful, bro.
Beautiful, brother.
Beautiful. All right, whānau, that's us. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Catch you next time. Ka kite whānau.
Later.
Later.